This is one of the important parameters. Then depend on the power handling, what type of connector you have to choose, whether it is a SMA, N-type, TNC, or it is a still IR, you have to go for waveguide. That is the only transmission line which can handle high power. Then comes size. What size you can accept? Somebody can tell, I can give the antenna meeting all your requirements, but this is my size. Can we use it? We cannot use. Especially for EW, size, weight is very important, especially for airport platform. So this is also one of the important. Then weight. When size is bigger, weight also goes down. Then environmental specifications. So under what condition the antenna is working? It is an airborne platform. The environmental specifications are different. It is shipboard, it is different. Ground based, it is different. So for what platform you are asking the antenna for that? That decides the environmental specifications. So these are the basic things about the how we can define the radiation pattern of the antenna. This is plotted as a function of direction. This is we call it the main beam. These are side lobes. These are the at 180 degrees. It is the back lobe. Then half hour beam there power forms 3 dB with respect to wave. Then first null between first null beam width. These are the minor lobes. So when you are operating the antenna, there exist three regions. One is called reactive near field region. The distance of this is value depend upon the dimension of the antenna and wavelength. It is decided based on this equation. Then it is radiating near field. That means it is between reactive near field and far field. In antenna measurements and in antenna, always we work in far field, where the pattern shape is stable and which is decided by the distance, wherever the distance is greater than 2d square by lambda, where d is the maximum aperture of the antenna and lambda is wavelength. This decides your far field. Under this condition, the phase deviation from the edge of the antenna is 22.5 degrees. So our laboratory is working on electronic warfare systems. So this is the basic definition of the electronic warfare. This is a military action involving the use of electromagnetic energy to determine, exploit, reduce or prevent the overall use of electromagnetic spectrum, as well as actions taken which retains penalty use of the electromagnetic spectrum. So the EW is basically divided into three groups. One is electronic warfare support, which is whose main function is interception of the signal, identify the signal, and locate the enemy radar to assess the enemy order of battle. So next is electronic attack. That means to prevent the hostile use of electromagnetic spectrum by the enemy radar. Basically, it is direct attack, and the main is chaff they will use for electronic attack, as directed energy also comes under the electronic attack. Then electronic protection. Under jamming condition also, the system has to work. So that means to protect from friendly and the enemy EW employment. This is the electronic protection. So we are developing the antennas mainly for this electronic war support measures and electronic attack measures. So this is the DLR main capabilities: design and development of antennas, antenna subsystems and redomes for electronic warfare systems for the tri-services. Both as well as not only for services, we are developing systems for paramilitary and signal intelligence directorate. Then we have highly qualified personnel. Our lab is ISO 9001-2000 certified lab. Another important thing is total engine development of these antennas enabled to achieve self-reliance in this critical area of EW system. Just like that, the way we purchase commercial antennas or communication antennas or radar antennas, they are not readily available off the shelf. They have to be made special to meet that particular requirement. So that is why this among all the subsystems in EW, antennas are very critical and they play a critical role in deciding the overall performance of the EW system. So these are some of the antennas I have listed what we have developed in DLR. This is most of them are broadband antennas like Archimedes spirals. What Saras told that Saras worked on these Archimedes spirals and pioneered the techniques in achieving the performance. Slot spiral antennas. That means there is a difference between Archimedes spiral. This is where conductor radiates, but whereas here slot, the space between the two conductors radiates. The main advantage of this slot spiral antenna is normally to make the Archimedes spiral unidirectional, always is backed by a cavity, which is of the order of lambda by 4 depth. Whereas slot spiral, the depth is lambda by 10. So that means with small thickness, you can able to achieve the performance. Then the spiral hex antennas. If you want to design the antenna, we can design the spiral covering say 0.5 to 18. But problem is the size will become very high because the spiral lowest frequency is decided by the lowest frequency. It should be one wavelength circumference. So to make the compact the antenna, we have developed a configuration such that helix and spiral married together. Low frequency helix will work and high frequency spiral will work, so that the dimension and size of the antenna comes down with the same performance. Then sinus antenna. This is having the property of it can generate dual circular correlation. Whereas this Archimedes spiral, this slot spiral is only circular correlation, but by using sinus antennas, we can generate dual circular correlation. Then baseline interferometric arrays using spirals, ADF antennas using spirals, circular polarized high power horns and radomes. Then another thing is biconical omni antennas, then sectoral horn antennas, pyramidal and constant beam with the horn antenna. This is recently we have developed. I will tell when we are talking about the amplitude comparison GF system. So why we need a constant beam with the horn antennas. Then Vivaldi antennas and arrays. Circular arrays also we have developed by using a single circular array. We can cover 360 degrees. Whereas if you use the BLI arrays, 4 such arrays required to cover 360 degrees. This also we have implemented. Then baseline interferometric arrays covering using the sectoral horns, ADF antennas, reflectors with auto track horns. This also I will tell why this auto tracking is required along the reflectors. Let's put multiple beam arrays. This is I have one more group working on UHF VHF antennas for communication ESM and ECM like broadband blade monopoles, broadband dipoles, then discone antennas, log-bending antennas, biconical omni antennas, and broadband dually polarized antennas and radomes. This is also one of the new antenna recently we have developed. Why the importance is I will cover in next slide. Well, when we talk about the EW antennas, in what way they are different from radar or communication antennas? Sara already told radar antennas work for known frequency, known direction and known polarization. So you know the direction, which direction you want to find out the target. You are transmitting the particular direction, echo we are receiving, and processing and telling its range and direction. Whereas in EW we don't know which direction the signal is coming, in which frequency it is coming, with which polarization. So everything is unknown. That means the antenna what we use for EW application should have broad frequency bandwidth. Minimum 1 octave. We talk a bandwidth of the EW antenna is 1 octave, not less than that. Whereas radar, if you talk X-band, they will talk X-band plus minus 3% bandwidth or maximum 200 MHz bandwidth. 200 MHz bandwidth radar they will call as a broadband system. But we never talk about 200 MHz or even 1000 MHz bandwidth. We never talk as a broadband in EW. Then they should cover wide angular coverage, spatial coverage. So radar no direction transmitted and getting back. Whereas in EW it has to see 360 degrees. That means wide angular coverage is required. Omnipolarization. The antenna should respond to all types of polarizations, whether it can be vertical or horizontal, left circular, right circular, left slant, right slant. Then, depending on the application, we require varying radiation type of radiation patterns. Then, omnidirectional coverage. That means to meet these requirements, we need omnidirectional antennas, directional antennas, shade beam antennas. Another thing is the antennas have to meet stringent electrical and environmental requirements. Therefore, the antennas are tailor-made to meet specific requirements. So, I already told the EW antennas are mainly used for signal search, interception, monitoring and identification. To meet this requirement, we need omnidirectional antenna. First, we should know the presence of the signal, from which direction it is coming, or whether signal presence is there or not. So once you know that some signal is present, then we should know its direction. That is why we need antennas for direction finding. Once you know the signal presence, its characteristics, then its direction, then we have to take countermeasure action. That means antennas are required for countermeasure action or jamming. So these are the main functions of the EW antennas. So in EW, because I already told you they should have broad frequency bandwidth. What are the type of antennas which can meet the omnidirectional patterns? One antenna is the bicanonical antenna, then conical spiral antenna. The bicanonical antenna having omni radiation pattern in azimuth plane and direction pattern in elevation plane. This conical spiral. Suppose you want to communicate with a aircraft or a satellite, then we should have a omni coverage and a wide hemispherical coverage. Conical spiral only the antenna which can give wide beam in elevation as well as in azimuth and working over broad frequency bandwidth with circle polarization. These are the characteristics of the conical spiral antennas. Then discone antenna. This is also similar to bicanonical antenna, but it's using two cones. One disc and one cone is used. That is why it is called discone. Then blade antennas also we use for omnidirectional coverage. Then coaxial dipoles. This is mainly used for communication EW. These two antennas, because blade antennas, these three antennas used for communication EW, whereas these two antennas used for radar EW. So for direction finding, these are the antennas, cylindrical reflector antennas. Cylindrical reflector, the main property is in one plane it is a parabolic curve, other plane is a cylinder. So in azimuth plane you can get a narrow beam, in elevation plane it is a wide beam. So that antenna is rotated over 360 degrees to get the direction of information, which is used along with a rotating platform. Then these spiral antennas, I already told, these are the widely used antennas for direct finding. Again, log periodic antennas. Then horn antennas, both sectoral horn, pyramidal horn, fitted circuit, slot and radiated. This is what we call as the Vivaldi antenna. Depending upon the curvature, how we are flaring the aperture, we call it as a linearly tapered slot antenna. If it is exponential taper, that antenna we call as a Vivaldi antenna. So these are some of the antennas what we have designed for the EW application or omnidirectional application. These are the bicanonical antennas. And sometimes this is covering 2 to 8, 0.5 to 8 to 18. But we want to cover from 0.5 to 18 as a single unit, then we can stack one over the other to cover the frequency band of 0.5 to 18 GHz. This is called conical spiral. These are the blade antennas. This is discone antenna. Low frequency. If you use a total continuous surface, the wind load will be very high. Because of low frequency, we can use rods to simulate this cone as well as disc. This is the coaxial dipole. These are some of the log periodic antennas used for direct finding. This element is called pyramidal log periodic antenna. which is used as a rating element in one of the DF system, 8 antenna DF for naval platform. This is dual port as log paradigm, and this is coplanar log paradigm. This we are using as a feed for the reflector. These are the various types of spiral antennas. These are the spiral antennas. If you see any book, you can see spiral spiral antenna means they will explain. They will draw the two arms. They will explain that if you excite at the center with 180 degree phase difference, whenever the wave circumference is one wavelength, it radiates, it covers 2 to 80 gigahertz. But how to realize that the spiral antenna covering 2 to 80 giving the required radiation pattern, matching everything depends on how you realize. You see, these are the various parts of the spiral antenna. To make it unidirectional, we are using a cavity. Then this cavity is loaded with this observing materials to suppress the backflow. That is backflow. Then this is the balloon, we call as a balloon, because the spiral circuit what we are using here is a balanced structure, whereas it has to be fed from a coaxial input. It is unbalanced. So there is a balloon is required to transform the unbalanced structure to the balanced structure. At the same time, we are feeding with a 50 ohms, whereas the spiral impedance is 110 ohms. Again, there requires impedance transformation. That means it is acting as a impedance transformer as well as an unbalanced to balanced structure. Then when we are guiding this structure through this tube, there are stay radiations, and that will deteriorate the radiation characteristics. So to suppress the characteristics, this should be loaded with the periodic loading of observing material as well as Teflon in a periodic manner. Then only you can get the required performance. So this is what I told slot spiral. You see the cavity depth, it is very about 40-50 mm depth is there, this one. Whereas if you go for slot spiral configuration, the depth is very small. So this can be used as a conformal mounting antenna on any platform. This is another class of antenna called equiangular spiral, where the spiral growth rate is exponential compared to the linear growth in this arc-median spiral. This is called conical log spiral. That means the equiangular spiral projected on a pole. That is why conical log spiral. Okay, now from here onwards I will go for the design. How you go about the design of the antenna once you given the specification and requirement. You see, once you have given the specification and application, then first your starting point is literature survey. So to meet this requirement, what are the different types of antennas you have to see? Then you have to define the problem statement. What is your beamwidth? What is the frequency of operation? What is the gain? You define. Then you design. Going through the your papers, published papers or from books, you can design. Then go for simulation. Then once you simulate, once you